Hello everyone and welcome back up to the Minnesota homestead. I am finally filming a far overdue follow-up to my video on making infused oils and then making those into salves or balms. So when the other ones that I had made in my previous video were ready to strain, I was in a big rush to put a bunch of stuff together, so I didn't film the video, but I do have a couple more that just came due. These infused oils are again lavender and olive oil, and they have been percolating in here for about 2 months, so about 8 weeks. So now I'm going to take them, I'm going to strain them out, and with some beeswax, I'm going to make them into a really nice lip balm or salve. So first thing to do is, of course, get the oil strained out of the lavenders. So I'm just going to use some regular cheesecloth here. And I am straining this over a measuring cup because I want to be clear on how much oil I have so that I can make sure I'm using a good ratio with my beeswax. I've got my cheesecloth right down here, and I'm going to slowly start pouring this oil out of the jar. It smells fantastic. You want to make sure that none of your corners of the cheesecloth fell down while you were doing this. And you can see I've got some oil already here, and it's starting to strain out really well. If you really wanted, I suppose you could just sit here and have that go out overnight, maybe like if you were making jelly with a jelly bag. But what I'm going to do is, with clean hands, I am very gently squeezing the lavender blossoms to get the oil out. You want to make sure you are squeezing gently, because otherwise it's possible that you could actually rip the cloth, and then you're going to have those lavender blossoms right back in the oil, and you're going to have to start the process all over. Alright, and that will now go in the compost pile. The lavender blossoms will anyway, not the cheesecloth. The next step is to get the oil hot and then start adding the beeswax. I've taken about 50 grams of beeswax and shredded it up quite a bit. I actually just used a serrated knife. I have a couple of large chunks left over, but they will not cause too much trouble as I am getting them into the warm oil. I have 8 ounces of oil heating over a medium-high heat, and I'm going to start slowly stirring in those 50-ish grams of beeswax. I have a plate and spoon chilling in the refrigerator right now. So as soon as the beeswax is done melting all the way into the infused oil, I'm going to grab that, I'm going to dip that spoon in here, and that will quickly cool this oil and beeswax, and it'll let me know the consistency so I can decide if it's perfect, if I want to add a little more beeswax, if I want to add a little bit more oil, or whatnot. Let's check our consistency. And now I have the chilled spoon, the chilled plate, and a little bit of the oil in there. I'm going to pop that into the fridge for just another minute and see what that consistency is like. That did not take long at all. The first time I popped this into the fridge, it was a little bit runnier than I had wanted, so I did add in about another 5 ounces of beeswax, but not too much, and now it is exactly the consistency that I want. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn off the stove, and I have these really great 4-ounce containers that I bought. They're fun because they've got a little clear in the top, so you can take a peek at everything that is in here. It's nice for giving gifts and whatnot. And I am going to pour this in. And now I will just let them cool for a bit, and then I will pop on the lids. Voila! We have a bunch of really lovely balms. This consistency is very much a balm instead of a salve. As you can see here, there's no actually pulling anything out here. It's very, very firm. And it just gets a little bit of a shine on my fingers, really, which makes this the perfect lip balm. Or they do just sit around and smell. As I mentioned earlier, you can really change the consistency by deciding how much beeswax you're going to want to put in. If you wanted to have more of a salve consistency that you're really going to be able to rub into your hands, something like that, you're going to want to use maybe even a fair amount less beeswax. So if this is your first time doing it, I recommend that you start with a smaller amount and then work your way up. You can do that spoon test as many times as you need. And also, one nice thing is you can melt this back down. So if you thought you had the consistency right and it turns out it just wasn't what you wanted, you could actually scrape this out, throw it back in the pan, heat it up very carefully so it doesn't burn, and then actually add a little bit more oil, or if you're trying to make it a harder consistency, a little bit more beeswax. So you do have some flexibility here, which is a great thing about this project. I hope you found this video interesting and informative. I am so grateful to all of you guys that follow along on our journey, and to those of you that commented on the initial video where I showed how to actually take the herbs and make them into an infused oil, and asked me why I hadn't posted this follow-up video. Thank you so much for following up with me and paying attention and following the channel. And thank you so much for your patience while I finally got this one out here. So grateful for all of you, and it's so fun to know that there are people that want to come along with the journey here at the Minnesota Homestead. You know, we've got a ton going on all the time, so I would love it if while you're here right now, you'd hit that subscribe button, and then maybe even that bell notification so that you'll get an update every time we post a video. And then you can keep up with all the fun stuff, the veggie garden, the orchard, the bees, the projects, the ongoing, and all the fun that we have. So again, thank you so much for spending the time here with me at the Minnesota Homestead, and I will see you here next time.